Hello, welcome to Conversation About Conversation with me, Cucu Wesseh. I'll be your host in a series of episodes on Conversation About Conversation. A little bit about me. I am from Liberia originally, and I have lived in Finland for over 32 years. Now, I have experienced changes in Finland since I moved here in 1991, and so the idea of a conversation is about the changes that have taken place in Finland over the years since I've been here, and the changes that have taken place in Finland since I've been here. But especially the changes that have currently taken place since the command of the new government and its immigration policy that has brought several reactions in society. Now, our episode, The Conversation About Conversation, is meant for people residing in Finland, both residents, meaning local host member society, and immigrants, those who were born in Finland, those who have come to Finland for reasons of study, family reunion, and what have you. So these conversations are meant to ignite a narrative about immigrants and the role we play in society and the contribution we make. Now, there are lots of situations about what immigrants do and what immigrants contribute, and the facts are often left in the dark. So in these episodes that are to come, we intend to go deeper into figures, statistics, to support our narratives that immigrants or immigration into Finland is not a problem. It is not a liability, it is an asset. And so with these views, we intend to gradually change the narrative by shifting the perception of people, both Finns and non-Finns, immigrants and Finnish people, so that we can have a conversation that brings us to the table where we talk facts, disagree or agree, and to then come up with solution-oriented approaches to best make Finland a home that we can all enjoy and reside in. Well, it's been 4 weeks since we last discussed on this episode, and we begin with conversations about conversation. And we spoke the other time about what it is, the impact that could be on the government programs. Now, if you remember, we talked about the impact that affect us, that affect you, and how we can best engage for change. So today, we're going to be discussing on the episode of Conversation About Conversation, change scenario. So basically, we're going to be talking about system change scenario. Now, what is system change scenario? It is all about how we can embrace the possibility for change, how we can facilitate change impact, and how we can implement changes. Now, if you wonder why change is important, it is important because often societies are in a trajectory of progress or regress. Now, to understand progress or regress, we require certain professional skills, competencies, and understanding of a functional impact of change. So we're going to be talking about what immigrants should be doing in order to affect or challenge the status quo of the current government's new proposal on immigration. Now, last time we spoke about having an immigrant integration policy group, a group that would be acting as a watchdog for our interest and to see how the changes would affect us. So when we speak about scenario change or system change scenario, we're all about how we can best alleviate the challenges And very often we realize that fear is one of those things that inhibit people's action or their proaction. And because of people's own lifestyle, they might be wondering whether or not one action will affect their daily bread, or that inaction can also create a counteraction that will affect the livelihood. If you remember, many years ago, there was a parliamentarian, Päivi Räsänen, who used the book of Romans to challenge the Finnish Lutheran Church on its acceptance of transsexuals. And it so happened that when she made the statement, which was biblical or more bibliocentric, a group of concerned citizens challenged her as inciting hate. And sometimes I wonder that with the new government's policy on zero tolerance, we've seen that zero tolerance is used as a buzzword. Now, what do I mean by buzzword? Do the government actually intend to combat racism or to combat any form of hate speech or xenophobia when they have a minister who, for the last 15 years or 15 years ago, who wrote a blog that very much incited hatred or hatred against a minority group? Now, whatever the case is, we need to be thinking about a right-based society. If we want to speak about right society or just society, we must not be selective in the approach to issues. So if hate speech is hate speech, and the reaction to hate speech is to condemn hate speech and to demand certain actions, then it must be all across the board. Now, we remember the Päivi Räsänen case was not categorized as hate speech because, in fact, if she had to retract statement or if she was to be categorized as a hate speaker, then it means the Bible, from which we get our rule of law from Exodus 20, would have also been banned. And so that could not have been the case. But the case about somebody writing a racist statement 15 years ago is totally hate. And that requires some action, either apology, a resignation from government, or a retreat of that statement. And none of this has happened. And so on the 28th, there's been many calls for protests in the streets at the center square. It's very good. But my call here is that if we protest, what are we protesting against? There must be a strategic agenda for the protest. And we need to jot out these issues and say, we protest against one thing or the other, and we demand that this protest should have this result. So until we can come up with a strategic alliance and have an agenda for the fight or the combat against racism through protest, we will need to consider other avenues, such as the creation of an immigrant political movement. Now, this must be radical, and so it will depend on how people think of a solution-oriented approach to solving the problem at our front door now. Until this time, and next time, we will talk more about having a conversation about conversations. Don't forget to like this episode or this production, and don't forget to make comments in the comment box. Whether you agree or disagree, we enjoy your comments because that will ignite this conversation, and we'll be able to then move forward in having this conversation about the many conversations that are going on in your living room, in your schools, in your offices, in your homes, and in your network of friends. So stay tuned as we continue to embark on conversations about conversations. Thank you.